Hi everyone, my name is Aderisala and welcome to my channel. So this video is a spill from my last video and I'm officially 1 week into medical school and it's been something, I can't even lie, but it's been amazing too. So last in our last video we gave ourselves I gave myself some goals that I felt like I wanted to accomplish before, you know, by this night, which is Saturday night, and I've actually been able to work towards them really well. And I think that's one thing about myself, which is why I was intentional about putting my goals out there. Is sometimes when I know that someone is checking my goal, like I really have to achieve it. It's not even a joke. And I think we discussed that last time. So this video is just a spill of giving updates on how those goals are going and the slight changes I'm making and the lessons I learned, but even also the big wins the little wins that are big wins for me that I made during the so yeah. Something that was major in my last goal was academics, and if I remember correctly, I was supposed to have a test this Friday, which was eventually postponed. But in preparation for that test, I did learn a few things, and I'm going to share them. So on Monday, lectures would start on Monday, but instead of having a proper lecture, we had an orientation lecture, and then in subsequent days, we had virtual classes. And the classes were really nice. I can't even lie. Some of my lecturers explained beautifully, and I think I appreciate that. And sometimes it's I'm this passionate about it. I really love learning. So getting knowledge about new things is nice for me. Especially when it has to do with your body, please. My first lecturer kicked off our class by, giving us a case study on cancer, and I'm like, how did you know that that's one of the things I'm really passionate about? But passionate, not I know everything about it yet, but then I aspire to be part of in some way, whether it's donating financially or physically or just sharing what I know about it, or even just reading books on it, pursuing cancer in some way, doing my part time. So yeah, in academics I learned a few things. So as our last video, remember that I was 100% ready for my test. Well, as at Tuesday I became 50% ready, and there's a reason. So not my knowledge depreciated in any way, which means that I still knew the things that I knew, but I've been studying at home because we've not been in school physically, and I basically study alone because it's not like I'm a twin or I have a friend that is coming to come and study with me every day. But on Tuesday I got the opportunity because something got delayed in school and I had to stay back to study with 3 of my friends, my classmates, and it gave me a new perspective. So something I tend to do is I like to converse with people because I feel there's always something to learn from each person. I'm the type of person that likes to see the good in other people, but I also like to see if there's something peculiar, and that's helped me to see that everybody has something to share. Everybody has something that makes them unique. So basically, I just asked my friends randomly, oh, how do you study? How do you study? And somebody was like, oh, they write notes, and they read, but they do it. It's not they do it together, but both of them are eventually done. Another person writes all her notes, and then she starts to read, and then this last person writes important points, highlights them, and then studies the notes and not necessarily writing as he's reading. So something I did for this particular course I was supposed to have the test of on Friday was I got an overview of the course during the holiday, meaning that I had read through, I had basically gone through everything, but I had been writing as I was reading. So I wasn't necessarily trying to remember all the facts. I was just, okay, I knew that these were the topics that were in the course. I knew that these were some of the subtopics. I didn't necessarily know that this was exactly what they were, their definitions or what their function is in the body, but I knew that they were part of what I was supposed to know. So when I saw that school was about to resume, I decided to use 1 week to do if gaining of flashcards, active recall and stuff, and I did that. Well, I didn't know that I was doing something which I had seen in all these videos where you're not supposed to, which is transferring knowledge, in the sense that sometimes you think you're studying and you're not, and that you are writing or you're generating flashcards, and yes, in the moment you're doing it, you feel oh yeah, I know this now, but then you're not really getting a full grasp or a bigger picture of the course. So when I was studying with my friends, I noticed that there were these intrinsic little details that I just wasn't getting. So like, they'll ask a question like, how do you know it so deeply? But like, for me, I became new to it. I just started thinking, and I was like, okay, I'm going home to study. So that night, I just spent like most of my time studying. I slept with this, but like I studied, and I made a policy for myself. So I wasn't making flashcards. I wasn't making flashcards. I wasn't using my pen to take notes. I was just about. I wanted to understand it so well that if I had nothing to go over, like I would be okay. Which is what I did. Since I already had the flashcards on before, I didn't need to make new ones. I already had my notes. I didn't need to make new ones. So I just started studying in getting a full understanding, right? And I did that for the first question. I realized that all the things we were even talking about earlier in the day, where it was like, oh, this is quite like a shaky memory, like they were all there, and I was like, oh. So I began to like study that and study this, and by this was Tuesday, so by Thursday I had gotten to the point where like there was a particular topic that I felt like, no, this isn't fair. So I had gotten to that topic and I had understood it so well that I was like, I can even teach this now. But then I feel like I will not have gotten that other perspective, or even known if the test was still on Friday and I had gone where I was, I doubt what my score would be, I will not have gotten that whole perspective. And this, my friend, was really intentional about, oh, this is what you should do. And it just made me see that, even if you want to like study alone, there is a need to like have like a study buddy or group, so just share knowledge in a sense. Do you get? So aside from that, so the first thing is, after flashcards, after taking down notes, ensure that you are learning something in a way that if you could never go over it again, your understanding of it is so deep that you will remember. At least you don't have to remember every detail, but somebody will say, oh, explain how the muscle contracts, action potential, explain or explain embryology as a group. Your knowledge is not necessarily about every single detail, but you're able to say how many eggs come out, or how many eggs are there at when there's puberty or stuff like that. You're able to give like a full understanding of what you know. So the first thing will be study deeply. Active recall, but study deeply. The second thing I'll say is practice questions. So this, my friend, and I use like practice questions normally, but like we've not gotten to school. School has basically not started. Do you get? But like this, my friend was intentional about go through practice questions. So I've been doing that. But something that happened today and maybe a few days back was practice question gives you a new dimension of what to study. In the sense that I learned this in JAM and why, because one of my friends was like, oh, practice, take note of things you didn't know, and it helped because look at where I am now, right? But like this time I really went through, and then so today something happened where like it was types of contractions. So there was isometric and isotonic, and I just like saw it, and it wasn't in my notes, it wasn't in my slides, so I decided to search on it, and I was like, okay, I had gotten the answer, but I didn't even notice that the isometric was not isotonic that they wrote there. So I had to ask my friend that I thought I saw here that isometric means that the length doesn't increase, and then isotonic. So I didn't even see isotonic, and my friend was like, oh, isotonic is blah blah, and I was like, where do you get isotonic from? And I just looked at it closely, and I was like, oh, isotonic. So now I know that there's two things to look out for, but I would not have known that because it wasn't in my notes if it was on the exam day. So I'll say practice. So something me and my friend were talking about was we were saying that if it's better to like fail as many questions as you can before the day of the exam or before the day of the test, and to fail as many questions as you can on the day of the test. So practice does make perfect, in the sense that you are familiarizing yourself with concepts and you're doing it before you actually need it. So yeah, I'm not saying I'm a guru, but I'm saying I'm learning and I'm taking you on my journey with me. And since these are the things I learned this week, I'm sharing them. So yeah, I think that is that. Something that no one would have prepared me for though is, so I'm actually like, I'm a representative in my class, right? So I had to like really spend a lot of time getting in touch with lecturers and like help, like saying, oh, this is like what we had, and there was nobody could have framed the fact that I was having classes in the evening, please. So like there was a day where I already had 3 to 5 scheduled, and like there was a reschedule of like another course from no 3 to 6 was scheduled. There was a reschedule from um the original time to 7 p.m., which was a conscious decision, but then it was still a lot. There was a day where I had to like I've basically been learning time management, please. Like, I have a board. I call it my wall. I'm going to tell you a story about this too. So, I have a board where I write the things I have to do, and my board was getting full because, guys, there was a day where I actually woke up like 5 minutes to my lecture, and I just did the lecture. But that's the thing about studying prior, I was able to like contribute meaningfully. So, academically, I'll say that I did learn a lot this week about how to study, and I was able to like do what I said I was going to do, which is study the course to a point where I could write the test. And I think that's the thing about school, you're constantly learning and relearning. And I know for a fact that, I love being alone, I love like reading alone, I love stuff like that. But second semester of 100 level and this week have taught me that there is a need to also like interact with other people concerning what you study. You studied something, talk to somebody else. Their perspective may be so different, but it can help you to understand something that you were struggling with. So yeah, I wonder if this will be my view in a few weeks or in a few months, but it's my view as of today. I like saying that today is today and this is what I feel today. So yeah, that is it for academics. This week's goal is simple. My test is probably going to be postponed to this week. I'm going to keep studying for that test, so I'm not done with my practice questions. I'm actually nowhere near done, but I'm working towards it. So just continuing to prepare for that. And then I'm moving to, let's not divulge into that yet. I'll let you guys know when the time is right. So I wasn't able to like make videos consistently like throughout the week. I made them for myself, but I didn't make them like postable because I don't actually have my own like stand with me. This is my mom's one, and it's not with me. Mine isn't with me right now, so I just had to wait until I was able to get what I needed to make a postable one. So yeah, bye guys. Good luck with your studies. Let me know what course you're doing, because this is not even just about medicine, but it's just general. Let me know how you're coping, and if you have a particular technique that works for you, a particular time you like to study, let me